right, you guys, our weekly Facebook Lives are back, and I am super excited to be here live every Tuesday at 12:30 Central Standard Time with you guys. So we are going to be hitting various service dog training topics and Q&As and all kinds of things during these weekly lives. Now, this week we are talking about a really common topic that comes up. I get this question phrased in a lot of different ways very often. So we're going to talk about puppies and when they should start wearing a service dog and training vest and how that impacts your socialization and when your puppy should be allowed to go say hi to people. And like I said, I get this question kind of in various formats all the time. So that's what we're going to cover today. But before we jump into that, I want to give you a couple quick reminders. So the first one, well, a reminder and an exciting piece of news. So the reminder is that Friday inside our free Facebook group, Train Your Service Dog with Confidence, I am going to be doing a 90-minute web class on creating confidence in service dogs. So if you are starting with a new puppy or if you have a dog who could be using a little bit of confidence, you're definitely going to want to join me for that. The replay will stay up inside the group, but if you want to join live, then you can take advantage of the Q&A that follows that. So that's going to be on Friday, and you can join our free group to get that. The other thing is that when we started doing these free web classes, we were going to do 3. And I chose a topic and I put a poll inside the group, and you guys chose 2 topics. So you chose Task Training 101 and Building Confidence in Service Dogs. We've done the task training one. Now we're going to do the confidence one. And what came in is a really close next contender there was raising and training a service dog puppy. So in June, we are going to be coming out with a lot of information on raising and training a service dog puppy. So you're going to want to stay tuned for details on that as that comes out. But if you want to stay updated as details for our free training on raising and training service dog puppies, then you can hit the link in the description of this video, and then you can get email updates about that. Otherwise, you can watch this page and the group. So, like I said, today we're going to talk about puppies and service dog training vests and how that impacts your socialization. So when I first started training service dogs, I was really nervous about taking them into public, like really, really anxious. I would have to sit in the car and really psych myself up to be able to bring these dogs into public places where dogs are not allowed. And for me, it was because there was all this pressure. If I was going to bring a service dog into a public place, then it needed to behave really well. So then naturally the worry is, what if they don't behave really well? It's embarrassing, it's stressful, it's caused me a lot of anxiety. So what I did was actually take advantage of pet-friendly locations to do a lot of training where the dogs wouldn't need to wear vests in the first place. So when I say pet-friendly environment, I don't mean Petco or PetSmart. I mean, those are certainly pet-friendly and they have their place in your training process. But I mean places like Tractor Supply, Farm and Fleet, the Gander store here in La Crosse, Wisconsin is pet-friendly. I know that a lot of outdoor stores and a lot of farm stores tend to be pet-friendly, as well as a lot of hobby stores. So these are stores that dogs are allowed in, but also allow you to train in an environment that feels just like public access as far as your dog is concerned. So when it comes to putting a vest on a puppy, there are a couple of things that I keep in mind, okay? First of all, or keep in mind for both myself and recommend for other people. The first thing here to remember is that puppies who are not house trained have no business being in public locations that pets are not allowed. So if your puppy is not house trained yet, they have no business being in Walmart or a restaurant or the grocery store, because they need to have a little bit of training. They need to be house trained. There are kind of a couple prerequisites that your puppy should have before you're bringing him into these non-pet friendly establishments that only service dogs are allowed to be. So an 8-week-old puppy doesn't need to wear a vest because he shouldn't be going anywhere that he would need to be vested, okay? But once we move on past that, that means 2 things. Once your puppy is old enough and well behaved enough to go into these establishments, you kind of have two options. First, you can, well, and even before that, so let's back up. So as an 8-week puppy who's not supposed to be going into non-pet friendly environments, or however young it is that you feel comfortable taking your puppy into public, that's something you have to decide with your vet as far as vaccine safety is concerned. But when you have a puppy you're training, you can either put the vest on and take them into pet-friendly establishments for training, or you can leave the vest off and take them into pet-friendly environments for training. So either way, you can still hit places like the Gander store, like I think Cabela's is pet-friendly. I mean, a lot of these places like Tractor Supply, you can go those places and you can either leave the vest off if that makes you feel more comfortable, or you can put the vest on if you live in an area where that will help keep people away from your puppy. So in my videos, you will occasionally see me training a very young puppy in what appears to be a public place, and they are wearing a vest. These public places are pet friendly, so I don't need to vest my puppy to bring them in. I choose to put a vest on because in my area, if the puppy is wearing a vest, people will not reach for them without permission. And that is very geographically specific. So I know I work with, some of you guys are going to live in areas where vest or not vested, people are reaching for your puppy. And that is very frustrating, and that is a separate topic. In my area, I vest puppies as young as 9 weeks because nobody will reach for them without permission. They might ask, can I pet your puppy? But people in my area will almost always ask permission before petting a puppy if it's wearing a service dog and training vest. But that is the only reason the puppy is wearing a vest. We aren't in establishments or stores where a vest would be required, because we're in places like Farm and Fleet, which is pet friendly, and the Gander store, which is pet friendly, and the hardware store down the road, which is also pet friendly. So if I'm putting a vest on my puppy just so that people don't reach for them without permission, that kind of leads me to the next piece of this question that people ask. Like, so if I put the vest on my puppy, then he's not allowed to be pet by strangers, right? But then how do I work on this socialization aspect? Where's that line between teaching my puppy when he's working, he needs to ignore people, and when he's not working, he can be social? And here's my quick answer for this, but we're going to have information coming out on this in a little more detail over the next few weeks, because I'm going to post some videos that kind of show you guys how this works. But when I'm raising a service dog puppy, for me personally, the vest is not what communicates to my puppy that he's working and has to ignore people. The leash is what communicates that. And my puppies learn from 8 weeks old that when they're on a leash, they have to earn the ability to go say hi to people. So when I'm working with a young puppy, I absolutely want them to learn to be social with people, right? I want them to be social and confident. That's really important for a service dog. But I also need them to ignore people. And so we want to create that balance right from the beginning. Right from the time my puppy's 8 weeks old, I want to start to create that balance of, yes, I want you to be social and friendly, but only when I tell you it's okay. Because otherwise what we do as humans is we tend to go, oh, I want my puppy to be social. Socialization is really important. Confidence is really important. And it is. But if you let your puppy power through his first 4 months of life, greeting every person that he sees, and then you want to rein that in later, that's going to be really tricky. So instead, for most puppies, my puppies absolutely learn right from the beginning, you can say hi to people, but only when I tell you. So it generally goes like this. I have a vest on my puppy because in my area, the public will ask permission first. So we're out in public and somebody says, can I pet your puppy? And I think, yeah, that would be great. That would be really good for my puppy's socialization. So I say, yes, in a moment. I'm going to ask him to sit and then I'll tell him he can go say hi. And then I ask my puppy to sit or to do a hand target or something really easy. Like, because I'm talking like a little baby puppy. I got a 9-week-old puppy. He doesn't know a lot. So it's just going to be an easy task. Sit, hand target, maybe even just eye contact. I say his name. He looks at me. And when he does that behavior for me, then I tell him, okay, now you can go say hi. And I have a very specific cue for that that tells my puppy, now you can go say hi to that person. And this contingency, this is something I set up from day one with my puppies. If they are on a leash, then they probably get to say hi to most of the people we come across for the first couple weeks, but only after they've earned it. So they're going, again, something easy. They're going to sit. They're going to do a hand target, where they touch their nose to my hand. In some cases, I'm just going to say their name. I'm going to go, when Drake was a puppy, that's how we started. I would say, Drake. He'd look at me and I'd say, okay, go say hi. So what he learned from 8 weeks old was that if you want to go say hi to those people, you have to ask me for permission. That I'm basically the gatekeeper to all the fun things out in the world. And this is one of those things that if you can set this up right from the beginning with your puppy, things are going to be way easier. So, kind of as like a little recap, first of all, puppies who aren't house trained and don't have some basic training under their belt should not be going into public places where normal pet dogs are not allowed. In order to go into the mall or into the grocery store, into Walmart, there really is a list of things your puppy should be able to do before you go into those places. And that includes house training. So an 8-week-old puppy, not house trained, shouldn't be in those places. But I still like to take my puppies out for training pretty young. So we go to pet-friendly locations like here in my area. I do hardware stores because I've got a couple of those that are pet-friendly, Farm and Fleet, and the Gander store. And Tractor Supply and Farm and Fleet. I said that, okay. And I do put a vest on my puppies, but the vest is there only so that people do not reach for my puppy without permission. Because if they're not reaching for my puppy without permission, then I can set up this contingency. Yes, puppy, you get to go say hi to that person, but only after you do something for me first. So that is how I get started with these really young puppies. And like I've said before, or I said earlier, when to take your puppy out into these places as far as vaccine safety is concerned and health is concerned, that's really something you need to talk to your vet about, because every geographical area is different. Every puppy is different. So when it's safe for your puppy to start going to places that could potentially have other dogs there is something you have to talk about with your vet. But I take my puppies generally, I speak to my vet first always. I generally start taking my puppies about 9 or 10 weeks to pet-friendly places where there won't have been a lot of dog traffic. So we don't go to Petco, where there's a dozen dogs an hour. We go to Farm and Fleet, where there might have been 10 dogs that whole day. But again, that's something you have to talk to your vet about, and you have to make the decision that makes you comfortable. Now, that is all that I have for today. If anybody has any questions on this specific topic, then I'm happy to answer those. And then next week, I'm going to be here every Tuesday at 12:30 now, live with different topics. And remember that on Friday, we're going to have our live web class on building confidence in service dogs. And if you've got a puppy, that's going to be if there's a lot of information in there, that's going to be really helpful. And if you I get excited, I talk a lot. Or if you have a dog who's maybe struggling with some confidence, then it's going to be really helpful. Or if you have a dog who's going through adolescence, it could be helpful. Because a lot of dogs, as they go through their adolescence, they're going to hit periods of time where they're less confident and periods of time where they're more confident. So being able to help them through those less confident times are going to be really helpful. And if you voted for the puppy training and we're not getting the web class on that, stay tuned, because I've got lots of cool puppy announcements coming up here scheduled for June. So if you want to stay at if you want to get the first, what's the term I'm looking for? If you want to be notified first, right away, as those updates and everything come out, then hit the link in the description of this video and you can throw your email address in and I will email you as information about a whole bunch of fun and exciting puppy training resources are going to be coming out. All right. So I will see you guys next week. If you're watching the replay and you have questions, go ahead and throw them in and I will answer them. And then our Facebook group is also a great place to get your questions answered. So I will see you guys next week.